As an American, I am outraged and ashamed at the lies that certain so-called Americans tell against the nation of Israel. American Democrats in particular are a national disgrace. Many, like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, open their mouths and lies fly out like projectile vomiting. Well, today I'm going to balance the narrative. It wasn't long ago that a Palestinian mother was horrified that her baby had stopped breathing. She scooped up her baby and desperately ran towards the people she knew would help. She ran to the nearest Israeli soldiers. The Israelis immediately called their hospital, and their commanding officer, an Israeli colonel, heard the call. He personally drove a doctor to the scene, and the doctor saved that little baby's life. That is how the Palestinians are treated by Israel. And a few years before that, a mentally retarded Palestinian boy who was often seen wandering the streets of his neighborhood was grabbed by Hamas terrorists. They beat that poor boy and terrorized him into doing what they wanted. They strapped a bomb to the boy and put the detonator in his hand and ordered him to walk up to a group of Israeli soldiers and push the button. But as the frightened boy was approaching the soldiers, his coat came open, and they saw the bomb. They scrambled behind their concrete barriers, pointed their guns at the boy, and ordered him to stop. And they would have been perfectly justified shooting him right there on the spot. But the boy began to cry, and not one Israeli soldier pulled the trigger. And believe it or not, a lone soldier stepped out from behind his concrete wall, walked up to the boy, and disarmed the bomb. To Hamas, that poor retarded boy was nothing but a mule that they could abuse and use to murder Israelis. But to those Israeli soldiers, that boy was a life worth saving. It was about 2 years ago, I think, that an American Air Force officer who had served in Israel declared the Israeli military to be the most moral military in the world. That's quite an honor. And today, the same terrorists who tried to blow up that mentally retarded boy are launching thousands of missiles on Israeli citizens. They don't care if they kill little children. To them, the only good Jew is a dead Jew. In fact, one of 7 of those Hamas missiles lands in Palestinian neighborhoods, killing Palestinian children. And of course, they blame Israel for killing those children. And bloodthirsty American Democrats like Rashida Tlaib join the cacophony of lies about Israel. As an American, I cannot and will not remain silent as Hamas terrorists murder Israelis, and American terrorists like Rashida Tlaib cheer for the murders. Dietrich Bonhoeffer once said, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless." So I am calling out the bloodthirsty evil of Hamas, and I'm calling out the shameless evil of Rashida Tlaib. She belongs in a prison cell in Guantanamo Bay. She and half the Democrat Party are men and women who have sold their souls to pure evil, and they deserve to be publicly challenged by name. And when the day comes, they will be prosecuted just like the Nazis were at Nuremberg. This is Wild Bill for America. Thank you for watching, and America bless God again.